I own 236 discs, and yes, I counted. And also, yes, that is way, way too many. But of those 236 discs, I am bagging a grand total of 21 of them. And today we're taking a deep dive into those 21 discs, why they made the cut while the others didn't, and whether or not any of these discs should also be making your bag. So if that sounds good to you, let's jump into this thing. A lot of things have changed since last year, but putting putters are not one of them. I am using the Simon Line Electron Axiom Pixels. I'm bagging 3 of them at the moment. I'm using the Electron Medium plastics. This is just like their normal Electron. Now the Pixel is a little bit on the deeper side, has a very flat top. Because it's deeper, it is a very high glide, low fade putter. And for me, because I don't have a lot of pace on my putt, like I have a lot of up and down motion, it's more of like a push putt. It's really important to me to have something that has that high glide, something where even if I put it out without a lot of power, it's still gonna hold that line without fading out early. There's some crazy geese up here. And the Pixel has treated me very well. I started using them immediately after they came out early in 2024. And while I've toyed around with a couple other putters throughout this year, the Pixel I just keep coming back to, my ride or die at the moment. And up next, let's talk throwing putters and approach discs, of which I am bagging 5. 3 of these are the Axiom Envy, an absolute classic throwing putter. This one's in the Electron plastic with the numbers 33, -12, but in reality, this flies much, much more understable. It is completely beat to crap. It has just giant gouges taken out all over the place. It is like completely warped as well. Probably my longest 10-year disc at this moment. It's actually crazy that it's survived as long as it has because I throw this all the freaking time. Part of what makes the Envy such a popular throwing putter is it has a very low profile hand feel. It's very torque resistant. The premium plastic ones start out pretty overstable. These Electron ones obviously beat in a lot faster to get that understable flight. But this one's lasted for like 2.5 years. It's probably close to going out the door just because at some point it's just gonna get so warped that it can't fly anymore, right? But I'm still rocking it. And I have 2 aces with it as well. One from 2023, one from 2024. I'd really like to get one more ace on it before it kicks the can. We'll see. Now my second Envy is another Electron one. This one is much newer than the one that I just showed you guys. This is the one that I'm basically trying to beat in to be the replacement of that disc. For now, it flies really straight. The Electron ones definitely start out a little bit straighter than your typical premium plastic ones. I've been throwing it for a couple months now. It's not super beat in yet, which is a very important slot for me. I throw a lot of just straight putter shots, and this one is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that category currently. And our third and final Envy is the Prism Plasma Envy. Now this one has the numbers 3302, and it is probably the most overstable Envy I've ever thrown. This thing is a flex line king. I put it out on Anheuser. It wants to fight back to flat and then still get that fade at the end. Pretty much as overstable as I'd want an Envy to be without encroaching in on that like overstable approach disc type category. Whenever I need like a putter shot, if it's inside 300 feet, if I want it to hook up at the end, get that strong fade, get left, then this is definitely my go-to. Now, if we switch from throwing putter to approach disc, we have the Zone SS. This is one that I just started throwing. I did a review on it like a couple weeks ago. This one is in the Jawbreaker Z Flex plastic. It was a commemorative disc for the PDGA Amateur World Championship. I believe Discraft just gave the Zone SS official numbers of 44, -12, and I'd say those flight numbers are really accurate. The more I've thrown this disc, the more surprised I've been of the turn that it has when you compare it to other approach discs, especially ones that have that really flat top and low profile hand feel, which again, I absolutely love. I wasn't sure how useful this would be in my bag, but literally the first round I had with it, I had like 3 separate instances where I had to do like lean out forehand, like panning shots. Like if I'm scrambling, I need to get like around something and kind of pan with the forehand. This is so good for that style shot because where a disc like the Zone, if you do that like panning style shot, a lot of times they're gonna come out and fade out of that a little bit early. Having something with a little bit of understability while still being really torque resistant means that it gets just that panning flight the whole time. It's not just gonna burn over because it has that torque resistance, but it's also not gonna fade out early. Really unique flight, and even though that's the only reason why I've been bagging this, that's actually a very important shot, especially I play so many wooded courses where I'm scrambling all the time, you need to have discs that you trust for scrambling. And for me, Zone SS, great option for that. And of course, where there's a Zone SS, there's a zone. The Discraft zone has the numbers 4303. Low profile, flat, which for me, absolute necessity, especially on the forehand. This is the original Z Swirls from back in the day, the Brian Earhart Tour Series edition, I believe from 2020. Even though it's 5 years old, still quite overstable. If I need an overstable forehand shot within that like 250-ish foot distance mark, I'm pretty much always busting out the zone. All right, let's talk mid-ranges, of which I have 5. Despite the fact that I'm only carrying 5, this past year has been like the year of the mid-range for me. I am reaching for my mids way more than I have in the past, and it all starts with this Mint Nocturnal Lobster. This has the numbers 5-5, -3 turn, 1 fade. Last year I was bagging the MVP Detour, lost that. Then I started bagging the Thought Space Mana, lost that too, which is what led me to the Lobster originally, and I'm so glad that I found it. It is one of my go-to hyzer flip discs at the moment. If I need a turning shot inside of like 320 feet, I'm pretty much always reaching for the Lobster. Whether it be that like hyzer flip start to flat to just like drifting throughout the flight, or I can put it on more hyzer at the beginning, then it just goes flat and really straight. Just kind of fulfills a lot of my understable needs, which to be able to have that in a mid-range that I feel like is really controllable, more so than wider rimmed understable discs. I found that to be really useful. Also, I'm from Maine originally, and it's a Lobster. I mean, if you're from Maine, you gotta bag the Lobster. Just speaks for itself. In my straight mid-range slot, I'm carrying 2 Axiom Hexes, the most neutral of which is my Neutron Hex. This has numbers 5-5, -1-1. Despite the fact that I've been using it for like a year and a half now, and using it a ton, it refuses to beat in. It pretty much flies exactly as those numbers say. Just a little bit of flip, but at the same time, I can throw it flat and hard and know it's not just gonna like turn over for me. Like the Lobster, if I need something in that 320 in-foot category, I need to go really straight. Maybe it's a tunnel shot where I want very little deviation and accuracy is my main goal over distance, then this Neutron Hex is pretty much my go-to. Also, much like my Envy, I have 2 aces with this disc too, so it's kind of special to me. None in 2025 yet. I'd like to get that, but no promises there. And to complement my Neutron Hex, I also have this Proton Particle Hex from the Champions Cup drop from earlier this year. This one started out quite a bit more overstable than my Neutron Hex. Because of that, I don't use it a lot, but if I need that really straight flight up the Hex, but I need to guarantee that I'm gonna hook up a little bit at the end, maybe I'm flirting with some OB to the right, and I really want something where on the backhand, I know I'm not gonna accidentally turn it over a little bit too much on the anhyzer, then I put down the Neutron Hex and I grab the Proton Particle one. It also looks just freaking sick. I mean, this is one of the best looking discs that I have, for sure. And to round out the mid-ranges and to pair with the Hex, we have 2 Axiom Balances. Now the Balance has the numbers 5502, but this is one that I have in the Fission Plastic, 168 grams. So it's more of that like straight to slightly overstable slot. Really not a ton more overstable than my Proton Particle Hex, but has enough overstability where it's a little bit better in that wind fighter category. I don't throw this one a ton, but once in a while I need something in between that very overstable disc and just slightly overstable mid-range. And for me, that is this Fission Preserve Championship run of the Simon Line Balance. But to pair with that not super overstable Fission Balance, we just have the stock run of the Balance, which I actually feel is like pretty darn overstable. If I want something that has that zone-like flight, where it has a pretty aggressive fade at the end, but I do want to push it a little bit further than my zone, then I'm pretty much just grabbing the Balance. Because this one has a really flat top, I'm using this one on forehand a lot, especially on like shorter anhyzer flex lines where I want to get that like right to left movement, then come back a little bit at the end. Balance, good choice for that. Now, before we jump into the fairway drivers, let me know down in the comments below what disc that I should be bagging that I'm not. While you're at it, also go like and subscribe. That'd be pretty awesome. But let's jump into fairway drivers, of which there are 6. The first one is one that I was also bagging last year. That's the DGA Vortex. This is kind of a sleeper pick that I don't see thrown a whole lot. Has the number 76 -31. This is in the Pro Line Plastic, the Katrina Allen run. Super flippy, super fun to throw. I'm the type of person where once I find an understable driver that I really connect with and feel like I know the understability like the back of my hand. That is so critical because a lot of the times it can be kind of hard to trust an understable driver. If you don't know how hard you have to throw it to get the turn, maybe you throw it too hard to get too much turn. Once you have a driver that you're really locked in with as far as understability goes, you got to keep that sucker. That is an important disc. And for me, that is the Vortex. Great for rollers too, even though that's not really a big part of my game. If you want to throw rollers, Vortex, good option. Now after the Vortex, we jump up to two 10 speeds, and they are both MVP trails. You guys know how much I love the trail. Pretty much everyone loves the trail. Very popular disc right now. In the understable trail slot, we have this Fission trail. It is 167 grams. Trail has the numbers 10.5, -1.1. But this Fission trail, despite the fact that it's not super lightweight, 167 grams is a little light, but these are pretty darn flippy. They are also very domey, so they're pretty high glide as well. So I love these for just like subtle turnover shots where I can start it on just a little bit of hyzer, have it flip up, just drifts a little bit to the right throughout the flight. Just a little bit of drift. I find that the trail is one of those discs where it's so easy to get a really far flight out of them, but at the same time, they still feel really controllable. Like the rim, because it's not super wide, like a max distance driver, I feel like it's a lot easier for me to control. And that takes us to our Neutron trail, which this is one of my most thrown discs. If I just need like a straight 350 to 400 foot shot, I'm bringing out the Neutron trail. I think this one flies pretty much exactly to the numbers, that 10.5, -1.1. Don't have to throw it super hard to see those flight numbers in action. And because of that, I feel like I can really rely on it. That like 350 foot straight shot, I really feel like is one of the most important shots in disc golf. And because of that, the trail, really hard to beat. And tragically, while I was filming this in the bag, I lost this disc on this throw. Looked for like 45 minutes, couldn't find it. So I guess now it's not in the bag, tragically. And to pair with my two 10-speed trails, I also have two Discmania PDs. This is another mold that if you're familiar with my bag, if you watched my In the Bag last year, you will have seen some PDs. I absolutely love this mold. Has the numbers 10403, but I have this Metal Flake Lone Howl 3 run, which I'd say is more like a 10502. Has some glide, not super overstable, but definitely has a lot more of checkup and fade at the end than say the trail. The Lone Howl is one of Colton Montgomery's classic runs of PDs. He's done a few of them over the years. I like the Lone Howl 3 because it has plenty of glide. I can push these into that 350 plus foot category without it just dumping out early. But at the same time, because it has it over stability, still a great wind fighter, great on the forehand. If it's a shot that would typically demand my trail, but I need some hooking fade at the end, maybe a skip, then I'm gonna reach for the Lone Howl 3. Now to pair with the Lone Howl 3, we also have a Lone Howl 2. Like I said, Colton Montgomery, he's got a few of these kicking around out there. This one was released back in like 2020 or 2021, I think. This was back when Discmania was still made by Innova. It's in the S-line plastic. These are pretty overstable. Even though this one's really old compared to the Lone Howl 3, still much more low glide overstable. I think that those 10403 numbers are still very applicable for this specific disc. So basically take everything I said about that other PD, but if I want something that's just a little bit more overstable, isn't gonna go quite as far, then the Lone Howl 2 is my pick. I also have one ace with the Lone Howl 2. It's also really hard to get a hold of Lone Howl 2, so definitely don't want to lose this one. Would be very hard to replace. And for our final fairway driver, we have the Captain's Raptor. This is the newest run from Discraft, the Paul Ulibarri Signature Series disc. Has the numbers 9.3, +1 for fade, and it is as advertised. Super beefy, super overstable, very low glide. This is not a disc I'm throwing very often, but if I need something to really get left on the backhand, right on the forehand, and have a huge monster skip, this will do the trick. Also, the Z-Swirl plastic is absolutely beautiful. They crushed it with these new runs of Discraft Tour Series discs. I love the look and the feel of the Z-Swirl. They've really stepped up their game over at Discraft with these new runs. This one I also bust out quite often on the forehand roller. If there's some type of scramble shot that just demands the forehand roller, the Captain's Raptor is the one I go with. And that, of course, brings us to the last category, and that is distance drivers, of which there's only two. I like to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things when it comes to distance drivers. If you've watched my recent videos, then you already know what's coming, and that is the Fission Octane. I got two of them. This one is 160 grams. This is the one that appeared in my video last week. I have had a heck of a time finding a distance driver that I really like. I've thrown so many that I'm just not really into. Plenty of discs out there that they have good flights. A lot of people throw them well. They just don't really fit me well. The Octane changes all that. Has the numbers 13.5, -1.52. And for me, the challenge has always been finding a distance driver that I can consistently get up to speed and flip up every single time, but at the same time isn't so flippy that I'm just gonna turn it over into a roller accidentally. I need something that's still gonna come back a little bit at the end. And when I started throwing these Octanes, immediately they were my furthest flying disc. It's so rare that I feel like a disc is a true difference maker. You know, I throw a ton of discs. Like I said, I have, 236 discs, I said at the beginning. So I own those. I've thrown a ton more. And because of that, I'm definitely under no illusions. It's the Archer, not the Arrow, right? Like the arrows, the discs actually make very little difference relative to the Archer, right? But for me, the Octane is actually a true difference maker in the distance driver category. I just meshed with it and gelled with it so quickly and immediately, which is so rare for me for a distance driver. Has a ton of dome, has the pop top, goes a mile. Right now, this is my most consistent 400 plus foot distance disc. Now, I also have the second Fission Octane. This was 161 grams, so basically the same disc, except that this one's not nearly as domey, which I was actually bummed about. I thought they'd be the same exact run because I got them back to back from the same place, but that's just injection molding plastics. You know, that's how it goes sometimes. A lot flatter, but pretty much has the same flight as my domey one, which I was really happy about. I would really like to also add a max weight one to pair with these, have something that's a little bit better in headwinds. That will come most likely down the road. But for now, these two I'm really gelling with and absolutely loving. I mean, my bag, it's a pound Octothorpe. It's awesome. My recommendation, wait until Black Friday. That's when I got mine last year for $100 off. They're super expensive retail. Wait for a sale. That's my recommendation. But once you get one, it's the best bag ever. I absolutely love it. Has enough space for 21 plus discs. I could probably fit more in, but I throw a lot of putters and mids, which take up a little bit more space. Tons of pockets. You could fit discs in the side pockets as well. But other than that, that's what I got. So if you enjoyed this video, like I said earlier, like and subscribe. That'd be freaking awesome. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, which would be amazing. So help me get there. That'd be sweet. You can also follow me on UDisc community at Flying Fajita or Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf. As always, guys, I love you. Take care. I'll see you next time.